I want y'all to listen to this video from CBS this morning. They have a doctor talking. Now everybody said, well, why are you showing something from CBS this morning? All it is media, blah, blah, blah. No, the reason I'm showing this video is because everyone is saying the majority of the fatal effects is on the elderly. 65 and above is what they say. That's not true. There has been misinformation after misinformation put out there. Listen to this doctor.
Well, Gail, we had no idea that Dr. Scott Samlin was going to answer the Skype call for the interview in the emergency department. Now, there were other doctors attending to the patients in need. But what you're about to hear may be one of the most sobering and surreal accounts you have heard from the front line so far.
This is the most scared I've ever been being an ER doctor. And it's not just because of me. It's because I have a wife and a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old at home. I don't want to expose them. People say it's our job. It's not our job, it's our duty, and it's what we signed up for.
That's Dr. Scott Samlin. He's an emergency room doctor at Mount Sinai Hospital on the west side of Chicago.
I deal with gunshots every day and trauma and crazy stuff, and this is the only thing that scares me.
How many patients do you see on a daily basis that are suspected of being COVID positive?
Over 60 to 70% every day.
We keep hearing that young people are not as affected by this. Has that been your experience?
You can tell that the 27-year-old I intubated last week who had no medical problems.
Pay close attention.
Dr. Samlin says anyone arriving at the emergency room now who has respiratory problems is being treated as if they're positive for COVID because doctors can't afford to wait the 3 days that it's been taking to get the results back.
So we do deductive reasoning. If their white count is normal and their lymphopenic, which is something that we look at, and their x-ray looks like COVID and they're influenza negative, it's COVID. Well, we're having another COVID come in. Do you want to see the setup before it comes in?
Please, please.
So before we go in, we put on gowns, we put on goggles, we put on as much PPE as we had. Respirators, we're going to have them to intubate the patient or put a tube down the throat. But this is becoming all too common. What? The box is right here.
The physician protection box, as they call it, is something the doctors had made at a local plastic manufacturer to help them deal with the COVID crisis.
This way I'm not in front of the patient's mouth.
Protective gear is scarce here, Dr. Samlin says, especially masks.
When you use them for a shift, we put them in a brown paper bag.
This COVID patient who's coming in right now, the suspected COVID, he's coming by ambulance, I assume. How critical is he?
They're doing CPR on him. Yeah.
These patients are dying alone, which is really sad.
And that is because suspected COVID patients need to be isolated, says Dr. Chris Scadeller, who's using a respirator that he got from his previous job and a filter that his father, who works in construction, gave him. How you doing?
Frustrated. There was the CDC said we could use bandanas as a form of protection for ourselves instead of masks. So I got one. I carry it in my pocket. It's frustrating. It feels like the government let us down.
How you doing?
Thank you for asking. I'm not well. It's not a joke. I want people to stay home. This is the real deal.
Are they still performing CPR?
No, they're dead.
There was no time to even test that patient for COVID, but the precautions were taken. Dr. Samlin says beside PPE and a break, this is what they need.
If you have a friend or a colleague or anybody you know in the healthcare industry who's working on the front lines, just send them a text saying, thinking about you. God bless you. Love you. Thank you for what you're doing. That's all we need.
On behalf of a grateful country, thank you.
Thanks, Dave.